Jin Woo stood at attention in the sterile white briefing room, his black uniform pressed to perfection. The morning light from Earth's space station filtered through the viewport behind Commander Tae-min, casting long shadows across the metal floor. Jin Woo had been called to many impossible missions before, but something felt different about today. "Sit down, Jin Woo," Tae-min said, his weathered face serious. "What I'm about to tell you cannot leave this room." Jin Woo took the chair across, from his old mentor. Tae-min had pulled him from the streets 15 years ago and made him into one of humanity's elite soldiers. If Tae-min looked worried, Jin Woo should be too. "The Velathi want to form an alliance with us," Tae-min began. "Their princess is coming here for peace talks. Your job is to keep her alive." Jin Woo nodded. He had heard rumors about the Velathi Empire, an ancient alien race with technology far beyond human capabilities. They could read minds and lived for hundreds of years. Most humans had never seen one in person. "Why me?" Jin Woo asked. "Surely they want someone with diplomatic experience." Tae-min slid a datapad across the table. "They asked for you specifically, by name." Jin Woo frowned at the screen. His service record stared back at him. Every mission, every success, every scar earned in humanity's defense. But how could aliens he had never met know who he was? "Sir, I've never had contact with any Velathi." "That's what makes this strange." Tae-min stood and walked to the viewport. "Princess Lyra arrives tomorrow. She'll be here for 2 weeks. Keep her safe, and humanity gets access to their star maps and energy technology. Fail, and we stay trapped in our small corner of space forever." The weight of responsibility settled on Jin Woo's shoulders like armor. He had protected presidents and generals, but never someone whose safety could determine humanity's entire future. The next morning, Jin Woo waited in the docking bay as the Velathi ship approached. It moved without sound, its silver hull reflecting, the stars like liquid metal. No human technology could match its grace. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. Jin Woo expected guards, weapons, some show of alien power. Instead, a single figure stepped through. Princess Lyra was nothing like the monsters from human propaganda. She stood as tall as Jin Woo, with pale blue skin that seemed to glow from within. Her long silver hair fell past her shoulders, and her eyes were the deep purple of space between stars. She wore simple white robes that moved like water around her slim form. But what struck Jin Woo most was her smile. It was warm and knowing, as if she were meeting an old friend rather than a stranger. "From another species. You must be Jin Woo," she said in perfect Korean, her voice like music. "I have been looking forward to meeting you." Jin Woo bowed formally. "Your Highness, welcome to Terra Station. I am assigned to ensure your safety during the negotiations." "I know exactly who you are," Lyra said, stepping closer. Her purple eyes seemed to look right through him. "You saved the Mars colony when the reactors failed. You held off the pirate attack on Titan for 6 hours with only 12 men. You've never failed a mission. You've done your research, Your Highness. More than you know." Something flickered in her expression, gone too quickly for Jin Woo to understand. "Shall we begin?" The first few days passed quietly. Jin Woo escorted Lyra to meetings with human diplomats and showed her around the station. She asked endless questions about human culture, food, and music. Her curiosity seemed genuine, but Jin Woo noticed she already knew many of the answers. "How do you know so much about us?" he asked one evening as they walked through the observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly beyond the clear dome above them. Lyra was quiet for a long moment. "My people have been watching yours for some time. You're fascinating." "Fascinating how?" "You never give up," she said simply. "When faced with impossible odds, humans find a way. Other species in the galaxy either surrender or destroy themselves, but humans adapt and grow stronger." Jin Woo felt a flush of pride, but something in her tone made him uneasy. "It sounds like you know us better than we know ourselves." "Perhaps I do." Lyra turned to face him, her purple eyes intense. "Tell me, Jin Woo, do you believe in destiny?" "I believe we make our own choices, even when those choices were made long before we knew we were making them." Before Jin Woo could ask what she meant, his communication device buzzed. Taemin's voice crackled through the static. Jin-Woo, report to security immediately. We have a problem. The security office buzzed with activity. Human officers huddled around screens showing surveillance footage. Taemin looked grim as Jin-Woo and Lyra entered. Someone's been accessing restricted files about the princess, Taemin said. Station blueprints, guard schedules, defensive systems. We think someone's planning an attack. Jin-Woo's training kicked in immediately. Lock down her quarters, double the guard rotation. I want sensors on every corridor between her room and the meeting halls. Already done, Taemin replied. But there's something else. He pointed to one of the screens. The data access came from inside Velothi systems. Lyra stepped forward, her calm expression never changing. Some of my people oppose this alliance. They believe humans are too dangerous to trust. Dangerous? Jin-Woo asked. We're barely capable of spaceflight compared to your technology. That's exactly why they fear you, Lyra said. Your potential scares them. An alarm suddenly blared through the station. Red lights flashed as Taemin's officers scrambled to their positions. Hull breach in Section 7, someone shouted. Multiple contacts approaching from the dark side of the station. Jin-Woo grabbed Lyra's arm. We need to get you to the safe room. But Lyra pulled away, her eyes wide with something that looked almost like recognition. No, she whispered. This isn't how it's supposed to happen. How what's supposed to happen? Jin-Woo demanded. Before she could answer, the lights went out. Emergency power cast everything in red shadows as explosions echoed through the station walls. Jin-Woo drew his weapon and pushed Lyra behind him. Stay close to me, he ordered. Whatever happens, don't leave my side. Through the chaos, Jin-Woo heard Lyra whisper something that made his blood run cold. I knew they would send you. I've been waiting my whole life for them to send you. As armed figures in dark armor burst through the security doors, Jin-Woo realized this was no random attack. Someone had been planning this for a very long time, and somehow, Princess Lyra had known it was coming. The battle for humanity's future was about to begin, and Jin-Woo was starting to understand that nothing about this mission was what it seemed. The attackers moved like shadows through the red emergency lighting. Jin-Woo counted at least 6 figures in dark armor, their weapons humming with alien energy. He had never seen Velothi military gear before, but he recognized the threat immediately. This way, Jin-Woo whispered, pulling Lyra toward the maintenance corridor. His mind raced through the station layout, calculating escape routes and defensive positions. Years of training had prepared him for situations like this. Jin-Woo, wait, Lyra said, her voice strangely calm for someone under attack. They're not trying to kill me. What? Jin-Woo stopped and stared at her. Outside, he could hear the attackers searching rooms, their boots heavy on the metal floors. They want to capture me alive, Lyra explained. To use me against my father. If they wanted me dead, I would be already. Jin-Woo felt a chill run down his spine. How do you know that? Lyra's purple eyes flickered with something that might have been pain. Because I can see it. In their minds. Before Jin-Woo could process what she meant, the corridor door exploded inward. 2 armored figures stepped through the smoke, their weapons raised. Jin-Woo moved without thinking, pushing Lyra behind a support beam as energy blasts scorched the air where they had been standing. Jin-Woo returned fire with his plasma rifle, but the alien's armor absorbed the shots easily. Human weapons were no match for Velothi technology. He needed a different approach. Can you do that mind-reading thing on them? He asked Lyra as he reloaded. It doesn't work like that, she said. I can sense emotions and intentions, but not control them. Then sense me an escape route. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment, her face tight with concentration. The ventilation shaft above us leads to the cargo bay. From there we can reach the communication center. Jin-Woo looked up at the narrow opening in the ceiling. That's a tight fit. I can make it. I wasn't worried about you. Despite everything, Lyra smiled. You humans are all the same. Always worried about impossible things instead of the simple ones. Jin-Woo boosted her up into the shaft, then hauled himself after her just as more energy blasts filled the corridor. Below. The metal tunnel was cramped and hot, but it kept them moving toward safety. As they crawled through the darkness, Lyra spoke quietly behind him. Jin-Woo, There's something you need to know about me. Can it wait until we're not being shot at? I've been having dreams about you. For years. Jinwoo almost stopped crawling. Dreams? Visions, really. Of a human soldier who would help me save both our people. I couldn't see his face clearly, but I knew he would be brave and stubborn and never give up, even when the situation seemed hopeless. And you think that soldier is me? I don't think it. I know it. Lyra's voice was certain. When they told me Earth was sending a protector, I knew it would be you. I've been learning Korean for 3 years, preparing for this moment. Jinwoo felt his world shift. That's impossible. You couldn't have known. My people call it the sight. Some of us can glimpse possible futures. Usually it's just fragments, feelings. But sometimes... She paused. Sometimes we see exactly what needs to happen. They reached the end of the shaft and dropped into the cargo bay. The large room was filled with supply containers and mining equipment, providing plenty of cover. Jinwoo checked his weapon and looked around for threats. If you can see the future, he said, then you know how this ends. The future isn't fixed, Lyra replied. I see possibilities, paths that might be taken, but the choices are still ours to make. A new voice cut through the air, speaking in the musical Velati language. Jinwoo couldn't understand the words, but the tone was clear. Someone was giving orders. The attackers had found them. How many? Jinwoo asked. Lyra closed her eyes again. 8 now. 2 more joined them, and... She opened her eyes wide with alarm. Jinwoo, they have human prisoners, your diplomatic team. Jinwoo's blood went cold. Where? The main conference room. They're using them as bait to draw us out. Jinwoo started toward the exit, but Lyra grabbed his arm. Her skin was surprisingly warm against his. It's a trap, she said. They want you to try to rescue them so they can capture us both. I can't leave them. I know. Lyra smiled sadly. That's exactly why I knew it would be you. They made their way through the station's service corridors, avoiding the main passages where the attackers would expect them. Jinwoo's knowledge of the station's layout gave them an advantage, but Lyra's ability to sense the enemy's positions made them nearly invisible. There, Lyra whispered as they peered around a corner toward the conference room. 6 guards outside, 2 inside with the prisoners. Jinwoo could see So Young and 2 other diplomats tied to chairs in the center of the room. The Velati guards stood motionless, their weapons trained on the humans. I need a distraction, Jinwoo said. Something to draw them away from the prisoners. I can do that, Lyra said, but you have to promise me something. What? Whatever happens, don't try to save me if it means losing them. The alliance is more important than one person. Jinwoo looked at her determined face and realized something that surprised him. Somewhere between the attack and now, Princess Lyra had stopped being just a mission to him. She had become someone he cared about. I'm not losing anyone today, he said firmly. Lyra stepped out into the corridor with her hands raised. I am Princess Lyra of the Velati Empire, she called out in her own language. I surrender myself to you. The guards immediately focused on her, moving away from the conference room entrance. Jinwoo used the distraction to circle around behind them. What happened next was pure human stubbornness and training. Jinwoo had spent years learning to fight enemies with better weapons and armor. The key was speed, surprise, and using their advantages against them. He disabled the first guard with a shock grenade that overloaded his armor's systems. The second fell to a precisely aimed shot at the armor's joint seals. The others turned toward him, giving Lyra the opening she needed. Jinwoo had never seen a Velati use their psychic abilities in combat before. Lyra didn't attack the guards' minds directly. Instead, she confused their senses, making them see threats that weren't there and miss targets that were right in front of them. Within minutes, it was over. The guards were unconscious or disabled, and the human diplomats were free. Is everyone hurt? Jinwoo asked as he cut their bonds. We're fine, So Young said, rubbing her wrists. But Jinwoo, these weren't random attackers. They knew exactly where to find us and when we'd be vulnerable. Someone on the inside helped them, another diplomat added. Someone with access to our security protocols. Jinwoo looked at Lyra, who was leaning against the wall, exhausted from using her abilities. Your people? Some of them, yes. Led by General Vex. He believes humans are too dangerous to be trusted with advanced technology. Lyra straightened up with effort. He's not entirely wrong, you know. Your species has incredible potential, but also incredible capacity for destruction. Then why are you helping us? Because, Lyra said, meeting his eyes. I've seen what happens if we don't work together. In my visions, I've watched both our civilizations fall to wars that could have been prevented. Alarms began blaring again throughout the station. Jin Woo's communication device crackled with Tae Min's urgent voice. Jin Woo, we have bigger problems. Long-range sensors are picking up a Velothi battle fleet approaching. They'll be here in 6 hours. Jin Woo felt the weight of impossible odds settling on his shoulders again. But as he looked at Princess Lyra, exhausted but determined, and at the human diplomats who had trusted him to save them, he realized something important. Maybe Lyra was right about humans never giving up. Maybe that stubborn refusal to accept defeat really was their greatest strength. And maybe, just maybe, it would be enough to save both their peoples from the war that was coming. Princess, he said, I think it's time you told me everything about these visions of yours. In the quiet of Lyra's quarters, with the station's emergency lights casting everything in soft blue shadows, Jin Woo finally learned the truth about the alien princess who had changed his life. The visions started when I was 12, Lyra said, sitting cross-legged on her bed while Jin Woo checked the door seals. At first, they were just flashes, a face I didn't recognize, words in a language I didn't know. My tutors thought I was having nightmares. When did you realize they were real? When I saw the Mars colony disaster on the news feeds. I had dreamed about it 3 days before it happened. I saw the reactor failures, the trapped miners, and a human soldier who refused to leave anyone behind. Lyra looked directly at him. I saw you, Jin Woo. Jin Woo stopped checking his weapons and stared at her. That's impossible. You're talking about events from 5 years ago. I know how it sounds, but I've been having visions of you for longer than that. Always in moments of crisis, always fighting impossible odds, always protecting people who couldn't protect themselves. Why me? Jin Woo asked. I'm just a soldier. There are thousands of others just like me. Lyra shook her head. No, there aren't. That's what makes you special. Other soldiers follow orders and complete missions. You do something more. You make choices that change everything. You see solutions that others miss. Before Jin Woo could respond, Tae Min's voice came through the communication system. Jin Woo, report to the command center. We need to discuss our options. The command center buzzed with desperate activity. Human officers worked alongside the few Velothi technicians who hadn't joined the rebellion, trying to prepare defenses against their own people's superior technology. The fleet will be here in 4 hours, Tae Min said as Jin Woo and Lyra entered. 6 battle cruisers and what looks like a command ship. We have 3 patrol vessels and a cargo freighter. What about evacuating the station? So Young asked. Not. Enough ships, and they'd shoot us down before we got far anyway. Tae Min turned to Lyra. Your Highness, is there any way to contact your father directly? General Vex controls all communications now, Lyra said. He's probably told my father that I'm dead or captured by human terrorists. Jin Woo studied the tactical display showing the approaching fleet. His mind automatically began calculating angles, speeds, and possibilities. There had to be something they could do. What about the mining platforms? He asked. The ones in the asteroid field? Automated systems, Tae Min replied. Mostly empty except for ore processors. But they have industrial equipment. Cutting. Lasers, explosive charges for breaking up asteroids. Jin Woo's mind raced. Princess, how good are Velothi sensors at tracking small objects in debris fields? Not very good, Lyra admitted. Why? Because we're going to give them a very human surprise. For the next 3 hours, Jin Woo coordinated the most desperate plan of his career. Using maintenance shuttles, they transported mining charges and equipment to strategic positions throughout the asteroid field. Meanwhile, Lyra worked with the human technicians to modify the communication systems. If I can get close enough to the command ship, she explained, I might be able to reach my father's mind directly. but I'd have to lower all my mental defenses to do it. What does that mean? Jinwoo asked. It means if General Vex or any of his psychics are on that ship, they could kill me instantly. Lyra's voice was steady, but Jinwoo could see the fear in her purple eyes. Then we don't do it. Jinwoo, this is the only way to prevent a war between our peoples. There has to be another option. Sometimes there isn't. Lyra placed her hand on his arm. I've seen this moment in my visions hundreds of times. This is where you have to choose between your duty to protect me and your duty to protect everyone else. Jinwoo felt something twist in his chest. In your visions, what do I choose? I don't know. The future splits here into dozens of different paths. That's why this moment is so important. The Velothi fleet arrived exactly on schedule, their ships moving into formation around the station with military precision. Jinwoo watched from the command center as the massive vessels dwarfed humanity's small outpost. Incoming transmission, one of the officers announced. General Vex's image appeared on the main screen. He was tall even for a Velothi, with silver skin marked by ritual scars and eyes like chips of black ice. His voice carried absolute authority. Humans. Of Terra Station, you are harboring a criminal and traitor to the Velothi Empire. Surrender Princess Lyra immediately, and your deaths will be swift. Counter-offer, Jinwoo said, stepping into view of the camera. Leave now, and we won't have. To embarrass you, Vex's scarred face showed no emotion. You are the human called Jinwoo. The princess has corrupted you with her abilities. The only thing corrupted here is your loyalty to your own people, Jinwoo replied. Princess Lyra is trying to save both our civilizations. By giving dangerous technology to a species that destroys everything it touches? Vex laughed coldly. I have studied your history, human. War, genocide, environmental destruction. Your people are a virus that spreads across the galaxy. Maybe, Jinwoo said. But we're also the species that pulled together to survive the Mars colony disaster. We're the ones who shared our medical knowledge freely when the Centauri plague hit. And we're the ones standing here today, outnumbered and outgunned, still refusing to give up. Noble words. But words will not save you. The transmission ended, and immediately the Velothi ships began moving into attack formation. Jinwoo turned to his team. Everyone knows their positions? Nods all around. Even Lyra, despite her obvious fear, looked determined. Princess, are you sure about the mind link thing? As sure as I can be about something that might kill me. Jinwoo made his choice. Then we do this together. All of it. The battle began with Vex's ships launching a coordinated strike against the station's defenses. Human weapons were useless against Velothi shields, so Jinwoo's plan relied on something else entirely. The fact that humans had learned to fight dirty. The modified mining charges, hidden throughout the asteroid field, detonated in sequence as the Velothi ships passed through. Not enough to destroy the vessels, but enough to damage their sensors and disrupt their formation. Now! Jinwoo shouted. Lyra closed her eyes and reached out with her mind toward the command ship. Jinwoo could see the strain on her face as she pushed her abilities beyond their normal limits. At the same time, the human shuttles emerged from their hiding places among the asteroids, using their small size and maneuverability to dart between the confused Velothi vessels. They couldn't win a direct fight, but they could create chaos. I can feel him, Lyra whispered, sweat beading on her blue skin. My father, he's angry, confused. Vex has been feeding him lies. Can you reach him? I'm trying, but Vex is blocking me. His mind is like ice. On the tactical display, Jinwoo watched the battle unfold. The human shuttles were taking heavy damage, but they had managed to cripple two of the smaller Velothi ships. It wasn't enough, though. They needed something. More. Princess, he said urgently, what if we gave Vex what he wanted? What do you mean? What if I surrendered to him? Got myself captured? Absolutely not. Think about it. He wants to prove that humans are dangerous and untrustworthy. But what if he captured a human who then saved Velothi lives? What would that do to his argument? Lyra's eyes widened as she understood. Jinwoo, that's incredibly dangerous. So is everything else we've done today. There's something else, Lyra said quietly. In my visions of this moment, the ones where we succeed, You don't survive them. Jinwoo felt a cold certainty settle over him. But everyone else does? Yes. Then that's the choice I make. Before Lyra could stop him, Jinwoo activated the emergency beacon that would signal his location to the Velothi ships. Within minutes, transport beams were pulling him away from the station. As he materialized on the deck of Vex's command ship, surrounded by armed Velothi soldiers, Jinwoo heard Lyra's voice in his mind. Somehow, impossibly, she had managed to create a connection between them. I won't let you die for me, Jinwoo. Not when I finally found you. You didn't find me, he thought back. You chose me, and now I'm choosing to trust you. The last thing he saw before the Velothi stunners knocked him unconscious was Lyra's face on the station's view screen, her purple eyes blazing with determination and power beyond anything she had shown before. The real battle was just beginning. Jinwoo woke up in chains. The Velothi holding cell was designed to be comfortable, soft lighting, clean air, even a place to sit. But the energy restraints around his wrists and ankles left no doubt that he was a prisoner. Through the transparent wall, he could see Velothi soldiers moving back and forth in the corridor outside. Awake at last, General Vex said, entering the cell with 2 guards. Up close, the Velothi commander was even more intimidating than he had appeared on screen. His ritual scars told a story of countless battles, and his black eyes showed no mercy. General, Jinwoo said calmly. Nice ship. The accommodations could use some work. Vex studied him like a scientist examining an interesting specimen. You are not what I expected. Most humans would be terrified in your situation. Most humans haven't spent their lives fighting impossible odds. Indeed. That is exactly what makes your species so dangerous. Vex moved closer. Tell me, Jinwoo of Earth, why did you surrender yourself? You must know I intend to execute you, as an example. Because sometimes the only way to win is to lose first. Cryptic and pointless. Your sacrifice has accomplished nothing. Princess Lyra is still on that station, still poisoning minds with her visions of human Velothi cooperation. Jinwoo said nothing, but inwardly he smiled. If Vex thought Lyra was still on the station, then his plan was working. The princess had managed to slip away during the confusion of his capture. Where is she really? Vex asked, and Jinwoo realized. The general's psychic abilities were stronger than he had thought. Somewhere you'll never find her. We shall see. Vex left, but posted guards remained outside the cell. Jinwoo tested the energy restraints carefully. They were designed to hold beings much stronger than humans, but they also relied on Velothi technology. Technology that assumed logical, predictable behavior. Humans, Jinwoo had learned long ago, were neither logical nor predictable. 3 hours later, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Jinwoo could hear Velothi voices shouting in their musical language, the tone urgent and confused. Through his connection with Lyra, somehow still active despite the distance, he felt a flash of satisfaction. The cell door opened and Vex stormed in, his composed demeanor cracked by fury. What has she done? He demanded. Our sensors are detecting massive energy readings from the station, some kind of cascade reaction. Jinwoo grinned. Princess Lyra is full of surprises. This is impossible. The station's power systems cannot generate that kind of energy. No, but a Velothi princess with psychic abilities and a detailed knowledge of your technology can. Jinwoo's grin widened. She's been studying your ship designs for weeks, learning every weakness and vulnerability. Through the transparent wall, Jinwoo could see crew members running past in barely controlled panic. Whatever Lyra was doing, it was working. She cannot maintain that kind of output for long, Vex said, but uncertainty flickered in his black eyes. It will kill her. Maybe. But it'll take your fleet with her. That was when Jinwoo heard the voice he had been waiting for. Not through his psychic connection with Lyra, but through the ship's communication system. General Vex, this is Emperor Karis of the Velothi Empire. You will cease your attack immediately and report to me for judgment. Vex went completely still. Impossible. He cannot be here. Check your long-range sensors, General. On the wall screen, a new ship appeared, larger than anything in Vex's fleet, its hull gleaming with Imperial insignia. The Emperor's personal flagship had arrived. "Father," came Lyra's voice over the communication system, weak but determined. "I am alive and unharmed. General Vex has been acting without authorization." Jinwoo watched Vex's face cycle through emotions: anger, fear, and finally cold calculation. The general was realizing his rebellion had failed, but he wasn't finished yet. "Guards," Vex ordered, "bring the human." They dragged Jinwoo to the bridge, where the main view screen showed Emperor Karis in all his imperial glory. The Velothi ruler was ancient even by his people's standards, his silver skin marked with the intricate tattoos of royal lineage. But his purple eyes, so similar to Lyra's, blazed with power and anger. "Your Majesty," Vex said formally, "I have captured the human terrorist responsible for corrupting your daughter." "Terrorist?" Karis's voice could have frozen stellar plasma. "This is the soldier my daughter requested specifically? The one she says has been protecting her life?" He has filled her mind with human propaganda about cooperation and alliance. She no longer thinks clearly. "My daughter," Karis said slowly, "has the strongest psychic abilities of any Velothi born in 3 centuries. If her mind were corrupted, I would sense it instantly." Jinwoo found his voice. "Your Majesty, Princess Lyra saved my life and the lives of my people. Everything she's done has been to prevent a war between our species." "Silence, human," Vex snapped. "You have no right to speak to the Emperor." "Actually," Karis said mildly, "I am curious to hear what he has to say. My daughter's messages have been illuminating." Jinwoo straightened as much as his restraints would allow. "Your Majesty, I've fought alongside your daughter. I've seen her risk her life to save humans and Velothi alike. If that's corruption, then maybe we need more of it." "Eloquent. Tell me, soldier, why should I trust a species that destroys its own planet and wages constant war?" "Because we also rebuild what we destroy, and we fight hardest for those who can't fight for themselves." Jinwoo met the Emperor's gaze steadily. "Your daughter showed me visions of possible futures. In some of them, our peoples work together to explore the galaxy and help younger civilizations grow. In others, we destroy each other over fear and misunderstanding." "And which future do you choose?" "The one where my daughter lives," Jinwoo said without hesitation. "The one where both our peoples survive." There was a long moment of silence. Then Karis smiled, the first expression of warmth Jinwoo had seen from any Velothi except Lyra. "Interesting. You refer to her as your daughter, not your princess, or your mission." "She stopped being a mission the moment she chose to trust me with the truth." "Father!" Lyra's voice came through the communication system again, stronger now. "I have something to show you." The view screen split to show images from the station, Velothi and human technicians working together to repair the damage from the attack. So young, and a Velothi diplomat shaking hands over some agreement. Jinwoo's sister Hana helping treat injured Velothi rebels. "This is what cooperation looks like," Lyra said. "Not the corruption General Vex fears, but the growth we could achieve together." Vex moved suddenly, drawing a weapon and pointing it at Jinwoo's head. "Enough! Your Majesty, I will not allow this human disease to spread through our empire." 3 months later, Jinwoo stood in the Great Hall of the Velothi Imperial Palace, watching history being made. Representatives from dozens of worlds filled the crystalline chamber, their voices creating a symphony of languages as they discussed. Trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and mutual defense pacts. At the center of it all, Princess Lyra moved between groups with graceful diplomacy, her purple eyes bright with satisfaction. "You look proud," Taemin said, joining Jinwoo near one of the tall windows that offered a view of the Velothi capital city. The older man had recovered completely from his injuries during the station attack and now served as Earth's primary military liaison. "I am," Jinwoo admitted. "Look at this. 6 months ago, most humans had never seen a Velothi. Now we're planning joint colonies and shared research projects. And it all started because one alien princess had dreams about a stubborn human soldier." Jinwoo watched Lyra explaining something to a group of human scientists, her hands moving as she spoke. She had grown more confident in the months since the crisis, stepping fully into her role as a bridge between worlds. "Commander," one of the palace guards approached them. Princess Lyra requests your presence in the garden. She says it's important. Jinwoo found Lyra sitting beside a fountain in the palace's central garden, surrounded by flowers that glowed with their own soft light. She looked peaceful, but he could sense something different about her mood. "You wanted to see me?" he asked, sitting beside her on the curved stone bench. "I have news," Lyra said. "My father is officially naming me as his heir. In 5 years, when he steps down, I'll become Empress of the Velothi." "That's wonderful. You'll be a great leader." "I hope so, but Jinwoo, there's something else." She turned to face him fully. "I've been having new visions." "Different ones? About what?" "About you. About us. About the future we're building together." Lyra's voice was soft but certain. "I see a time when humans and Velothi explore the galaxy side by side, when our children grow up learning both languages and both cultures, when the barriers between our species disappear completely." Jinwoo felt his heart skip. "Children?" Lyra blushed, her blue skin taking on a deeper shade. "In some of the visions, yes. Not right away, but someday, if you want that future too." "Lyra," Jinwoo started, then stopped. There was so much he wanted to say, but words felt inadequate. "I know it's complicated," she continued. "Different species, different worlds, different lifespans. But my visions have never been wrong about the important things. What exactly are you asking me?" "I'm asking if you'll stay. Not as my protector or as part of some diplomatic mission, but as my partner. In everything." Jinwoo looked around the garden, at the impossible beauty of an alien world that had somehow become home. Then he looked at Lyra, the alien princess who had seen him in her dreams before they ever met. "In your visions," he said slowly, "what do I say?" "I don't know. This is where the visions end and real life begins. Then here's my answer." Jinwoo took her hands in his. "I spent my whole life following orders, completing missions, protecting other people's dreams. But you showed me something different. You showed me a future worth building instead of just defending. And I want to build it with you." Lyra's smile could have powered a starship. "Even though you don't know how it ends?" "Especially because I don't know how it ends. That means we get to decide together." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the alien sunset paint the sky in colors that had no names in any human language. Finally, Lyra spoke again. "Jinwoo, can I tell you a secret? Haven't you told me enough secrets already? This is the biggest one." Lyra's voice was barely a whisper. "The first vision I ever had of you wasn't about the Mars colony or any of the other crises. It was about this moment, right here in this garden. You were older, more confident, and you were home." "Home?" "Not on Earth, not on Velothi Prime, but wherever we were together. That's when I knew that everything else, the alliance, the attacks, all of it, was just the path that led us here." Jinwoo felt something click into place in his mind, like the final piece of a puzzle he hadn't known he was solving. "So when you said you chose me, long before they sent me, I meant long before anyone knew there would be an alliance to protect or a future to build. I chose you the moment I saw that you could be happy here, with me, in a life we created together. And you've been working toward this moment ever since." "We both have. You just didn't know it yet." Jinwoo laughed, surprising himself with the sound. "You know, for someone who can see the future, you're very good at keeping secrets." "I had to be. If I had told you everything at the beginning, would you have believed me?" "Probably not. And if you had known that your choices would determine not just the alliance, but your own happiness, would you have been able to make them freely?" "Definitely not." "That's why the visions end here," Lyra said. "From now on, we write our own story." A year later, Jinwoo stood in the same garden, but everything had changed. He wore the formal robes of a Velothi prince consort, and beside him, Lyra radiated joy in her wedding dress, a beautiful blend of human and Velothi traditions. The ceremony was broadcast across both empires, watched by billions of beings who saw in their union a symbol of what cooperation could achieve. But for Jinwoo, the most important moment came when Lyra spoke her vows. "I choose you," she said. her voice carrying across the garden to the assembled guests. "Not because I saw you in my visions, but because in every possible future I can imagine. You're the one I want to face it with." "I choose you too," Jinwoo replied. "Not because of destiny or duty, but because you showed me that the best way to protect the future is to help create it." When they kissed, sealing their bond before two civilizations, Jinwoo realized that Lyra had been right about humans all along. They really were a species that never gave up, that found ways to adapt and grow stronger in the face of impossible odds. But more than that, they were a species capable of love that transcended every barrier, distance, difference, even the vast emptiness between stars. As they walked back toward the palace, hand in hand, Jinwoo caught sight of a group of children playing near the fountain. Some were human, some Velothi, and some were the first generation of both, children whose very existence proved that the future was brighter than anyone had dared to dream. "No more visions?" he asked Lyra quietly. "Just one," she said, squeezing his hand. "I see us, 50 years from now, sitting in this same garden and watching our grandchildren play, still together, still building something beautiful." "That sounds like a pretty good future to me. Then let's make sure it happens." And together, the human soldier who never gave up and the alien princess who saw beyond tomorrow walked into a future they would create one choice at a time. A future where love was stronger than fear, where cooperation conquered conflict, and where the impossible became inevitable through the simple act of refusing to surrender. In the end, that was what made humans special. Not their weapons or their tactics or their stubborn refusal to accept defeat, but their ability to see beyond what was to what could be, and their willingness to fight for it with everything they had. And sometimes, if they were very lucky, they found someone else willing to fight for the same dream, someone who had been waiting for them all along.